Hi, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in to our TEP Town Hall episode 2. We're going to be joined by one of our ambassadors, Ellie, in a minute. But to start off with, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of how it's going to work tonight. So Ellie and I are going to talk about some sort of projects and course updates and just bring you up to speed with some things that have been happening over the course of this last month of September. And then sort of lead us into what's going to be happening in October, some of the live streams we've got coming up, some of the events we've got coming up. It's going to be a really, really big month in October. And then after that, we're going to move on to our focus for this evening, which is all about online courses. So each TEP Town Hall, what we do is we focus on a specific area on top of sort of bringing you some updates that's been happening in the sort of previous month. So yeah, tonight's all about online courses. We're going to dive into it in a little bit more detail, some of the modules that are available, some of the different course categories, what's coming up, some of the new courses, some of the more popular courses, and give you a chance to learn a bit more about what's on offer on the sort of online front. At any point, if you want to ask any questions, feel free to type questions in the comment box of where you're watching this, and we'll aim to get back to you live. If we don't manage to get back to you live, then after this TEP Town Hall, we will answer it as soon as we can. If you're watching on replay, still post your questions and comments. We'll still reply eventually. But yeah, just get involved as much as possible. This is all meant to be to give you more updates and bring you up to speed with some things that's happening in the world of the expedition project. So please do get involved as much as possible. And then right at the end, what we're going to do once we've finished the updates and take some questions and Ellie and I sort of chatting a little bit, what we're going to do is we then going to move to our members chat room, which is for members only. And that'll be found on the TEP Town Hall live stream page that most of you will be watching this from. At the bottom is a little button to move to member chat room. And if you're a member, you'll be able to go into that room and then meet some other members, chat to us, and get involved. This is all about sort of bringing the community up to speed. So that's what's coming up in the TEP Town Hall tonight. But to kick us off, let's show you a quick video and then we'll welcome Ellie to join us. Hey, Ellie, welcome. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Hey, everyone. So thank you so much once again for joining us. Ellie is one of our ambassadors who's been in the background for quite a while, but now sort of stepped up and sort of started up an ambassador role as well. So you'll be hearing and seeing much more of her. Ellie, why don't you just tell some of the people watching a little bit about yourself, where you are, what you're up to at the moment, stuff like that.
So I'm currently studying at the Royal Veterinary College in London. So I'm in my 4th year, just started second week. But as you can probably tell from my accent, I am not from London. I am originally from Australia in Melbourne. So I've done a bit of travel to get to vet school, but that's where I am at the moment.
Awesome, thank you. So is it true that RVC is one of the hardest sort of vet schools to get into?
It can be, yes.
Yeah. I bet it's been quite a journey so far, and it's super busy, and I mean you must be like nonstop quite a lot of the time, right?
Yes, definitely.
So outside of all your vet school stuff, you've sort of been helping out with some expedition project stuff in the background. What have you been up to recently?
So I've been doing a little bit with my zoological society, but also I've been working my way through the wildlife vet online courses, which is what we'll be talking about tonight, which is great. And there are some incredible courses on there. But we'll talk about that later.
And do you want to introduce us to your dog in the background?
Oh, yes, it's my dog, Chloe. She's just behind me there.
Hey, Chloe. Cool, guys. So as I mentioned before, if you've got any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. Even if you're watching us on replay, post them in the comments reply section, and we'll get back to you, as soon as we can, really. So these TEP Town Halls are very new to us as well, and they've came about because some of the members were sort of asking for ways to interact with each other, for fellow members around the world, and also sort of meet some of the team and all of that. So that's why these are here. So they're kind of going to form three parts. The first part will be just going through some project updates and stuff like that, as I mentioned before, and some things that have been going on in this past month and maybe coming on in the months to come. And then we'll have a focus for each of these TEP Town Halls, and then this one's all online courses, as Ellie mentioned. Last month was all about membership. So if you missed that, go back and watch about all the different memberships and what membership might suit you. And then the final section after that is it's a chance for you to, if you're a member, to jump into the chat room that we've built into our website. So you can join a video chat room and meet some other members from around the world, and chat to us for a little bit, ask some questions, and sort of get to know the team and get to know the other members. But to start us off with, what we're going to kick off this town hall with is some project updates. And there's really just one project that I wanted to touch on for this one, because they've been so super busy recently. Now, this is the Zulilan Rhino Orphanage, which is part of the Zulilan Conservation Trust. And this is in the KwaZulu-Natal sort of area. Now, they're a very small NPO that obviously, as the name suggests, works with rhinos. Now, the sad news is that rhino poaching is still such a problem, and has been such a problem this year, that they've got their sort of highest numbers, all at one time that they've had in the orphanage. So they're absolutely overworked at the moment, and really trying to do as much fundraising as possible. So Simone sent us a sort of update recently, and also posted it on social media, and she said this: rhino poaching in KZN, which is KwaZulu-Natal, is increasing rapidly, with around 133 rhinos that have been poached up to the end of June 2022, which is absolutely crazy. This has resulted in 4 new rhino orphanings arriving in the facility, which brings the total numbers up to 5 at the moment, which is the most arrivals that we've ever experienced in a single year. Things have been super busy over the last few months, but we are happy to report that all new orphans are doing really well. So, it's kind of, I suppose, Ellie, is like, mixed feelings with that. At least this orphanage is there so that, these rhinos do have somewhere to go to, can get rehabilitated, can get released, can get looked after. But, much like so many charities out there, if the world was a right place, then they wouldn't exist. And it's sad, but at least they've got the orphanage, I suppose.
Yeah, no, they're lucky that they have some incredible professionals that are willing to care for them, and also put in the management, because it's about prevention as well as.
Chloe agrees. Yeah. So, as I mentioned, the team is really small, and Simone, who manages the orphanage, they're part of a bigger group, as I mentioned, Zulilan Conservation Trust, which works with the local communities as well. And do a lot of work on sort of nearby reserves and everything. Absolutely amazing. Now, the other reason I wanted to raise this is because they're very kind of small. They luckily do offer the opportunity for volunteers and students to go out and work with them and help them. And as I mentioned, now is the time, because I've got so much going on. But because they're very ethical, very animal focused, rather than sort of focusing on the visitors that are coming, they only do take 2 sort of volunteers or 2 students at a time. But this is good. It's a good opportunity if you're a vet student, or if you're not a vet student. So if you're a vet student, this is great for animal husbandry EMS. It really does give you an insight into the running of an orphanage like this, the rehabilitation process, what it takes to care for these amazing, iconic animals. But it's also ideal for anyone who's interested in wildlife conservation, rhinos in general, and endangered species. Now, there's a screening process to obviously get the right sort of students and volunteers for this, to go and visit and spend some time with them. And because of the distance you have to travel and where it's located, and You really are out in the middle of nowhere, which is amazing. Because of that, obviously, there's a sort of minimum length of time that's sort of worthwhile for you to go out. And they do sort of say that it has to be at least 2 weeks to go out and spend some time with them to make it worthwhile. It's also because from an ethical point of view, they don't want, lots of people coming and going all the time. And you need to build a bit of sort of rapport with these amazing animals. Now, we've had sort of several students go out in 2022 already, and absolutely had such an amazing time. If you go and check out the live stream section on the Expedition Project website, you'll see there's some live streams that have been talking to some of those volunteers that went out and some of the things that they got up to. Most of them so far have actually been veterinary students, and they've really, found it super useful and made friends for life, both in the animal side and in the human side. But you're not just going to be working with rhinos. You also get to meet and work with their 2 resident hippos, which is amazing. Very, very rare to come up close and personal with a hippo like that and those kind of circumstances. So absolutely amazing. And if you're lucky, they do help out and do rehabilitation for pangolin as well. So you might get a chance to even see and meet some pangolins, which get rehabilitated if they need it. So yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I do highly recommend it. It's very affordable. The Expedition Project gives loads of pre-departure support to kind of help you get ready for that, help you with sort of flight arrangements, help you with some other things that if you want to do before or after the trip. So it really is worthwhile. So go and check that out. And sort of let me know if you want to discuss that. So the other thing that I wanted to bring up in the sort of the update section is in September, we've sort of launched our new sort of live stream schedule where we sort of showing lots of different kind of categories where we're going to show different types of live streams, introduce you to different projects and different people. So really some amazing things that have started this month and will be ongoing. So do sort of check those out. Now, how this will work is the first Tuesday of every month is our main feature of the month. And this is usually sort of wildlife, nature conservation sort of topics. And then the middle Tuesday of the month are generally sort of replays, pre-recorded sort of webinars and events and stuff like that, except for October, and I'll get to that in a minute. And then the last Tuesday of the month, like we're in right now, is all about the TEP Town Hall. So it's a chance to look back at that month and then look ahead to see what's sort of coming up. But October is absolutely jam-packed. It's our busiest live stream schedule to date. And the reason is because it's our big wildlife conservation in South Africa conference is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. So this is our main fundraising event of the year. So before that, though, we've got on the 4th of October, we've got the first in a series of Coastal Conservation Online episodes. And this for this first one is going to be speaking to the Two Oceans Aquarium Education Foundation. And we're going to be speaking with some of the turtle teams. So we're going to learn about the turtle rehabilitation. So really looking forward to that because we haven't really touched on the marine side too much other than a few conversations with Marine Dynamics and Nature's Valley Trust, but we haven't got to actually touch on the turtle side of things yet. So really looking forward to that. And then leading up to the 16th of October, which is our Wildlife Conservation in South Africa live event, live conference and fundraising event, we've got a preview on Tuesday the 11th. So this will give you a chance to look ahead to what's coming up, some of the things you can do before this conference, ways to get involved before, during, and after the conference. And it's also great if you're worried, if you're not going to really manage to watch too much live on the 16th, this might give you a bit of heads up of the ways that you can participate, even if you can't watch it live. So it's quite a useful preview. Then obviously on the 16th, it's a full day event. So this is a Sunday. It's starting at 8:30 in the morning and running all the way through to 5:30 in the afternoon. Watch all or as many of the live talks as possible. Participate in as much as you can. And as I say, if you can't make it, then it's all available on replay. So just make sure you've got a ticket, because soon as the conference starts, the ticket prices then shoot up and get really expensive. So you do need to get a ticket before that event starts to make use of the discounts, the cheaper version of the tickets. And especially if you're a member, you do get a really, really big chunk of a discount on that. And then following that event on Tuesday the 18th, we're going to have a little debrief and a little highlights package, looking at some of the highlights, the funny things, maybe the interesting highlights from that conference, and just talk through that for a little bit. And then, yeah, just bringing all back around in circle another TEP Town Hall on the 25th of October. So Phew, Ellie, I need a break from speaking now. There's a jam-packed schedule this month. I don't know, what are some of your thoughts of any of that?
Well, I am very excited for the wildlife conference. I have my ticket, and I definitely encourage people to get their tickets as soon as possible. As you said, the ticket prices will go up, and I know with our university membership, you can get a huge discount. So please get your tickets, and the funds go to all the projects that are actually in the conference as well. So
definitely. Is there a talk that you spotted that you sort of stuck out in your head? You thought, okay, well, this is going to be a good one, or this is the species that I really want to hear more about?
I'm excited for all of them, but I guess I do love seeing Dr. Rogers' talks. So I'm excited for his talks. No, I don't have any specifics. I definitely am curious to see some of the was it the bees or honey or something with the about like the flora and fauna and wildlife ecology. That looks really cool.
Yeah, so we've got actually some I suppose sort of heading a bit left field, kind of different kind of sort of topics in this one, which is quite nice because what we wanted when Izzy and I were sort of designing this, we wanted to try and sort of have quite a rounded sort of event where it is covering different areas, but there's areas that are also in the wildlife conservation side that don't get touched on quite a lot, but then there's also sort of things that feed into wildlife conservation but might not be wildlife heavy, if that makes sense at all. So this is why we bring in topics like biomimicry as well, which I think is really relevant and important, because this is how do you approach nature, how do you approach the wildlife around you, why is it important, why are some of these topics more vital than they've ever been, and stuff like that. So that's a nice sort of taking a step back kind of approach. The biomimicry talk is great. And as you mentioned, the birds and the bees talk with the Nature's Valley Trust is great, because that's some of the sort of the creatures that, we don't often hear about, things like, the plovers and some of those really cool birds, and then bees, obviously. And I think we're hearing more and more now about how integral like bees are to, to the world. And just such an important topic. And then obviously we've got the big iconic species. We've got leopards in there. We've got sharks in there. We've got whales in there. We've got cheetahs in there. We've got pangolins. So Provet Animal Hospital. So Peter and some of his colleagues are going to be discussing pangolins, which is really nice. What else are we missing there? I feel like I'm missing something. We've got a wildlife conservation tourism section as well. So how does that all cross over into tourism? And is there an ethical way to do it? Is there a right way to do it? Those kind of things. So lots of really interesting topics, and it's jam-packed. It's going to be a fast-paced event, and really looking forward. So please do support it. And as Ellie mentioned, all tickets, 100% of the ticket sales go split to all the organizations that are participating. And then to round off the conference, we've got a panel. Now, last year we had a panel which was an accumulation of some of the speakers of the day. Now, what we've done a little bit differently this time is we've got a different panel. So we've got not the speakers that are necessarily going to be there talking during the day. We've got a whole different panel to bring in different perspective on the day, which is really nice. So we've got some of the big players in conservation in South Africa, and these include Cape Nature, which work in the Western Cape province of South Africa, and they in charge of a lot of ecotourism destinations, and they work very closely with organizations like Cape Leopard Trust and stuff like that with leopard conservation. So they've got a massive sort of remit, and they really have to cover a big area. So that's really looking forward to that. We've got Two Oceans Aquarium, who are going to be joining us for that. We've got, who else we've got? We've got WWF South Africa, amazing. So obviously they're covering the whole of South Africa and linked to WWF globally as well. So some of the things they do, absolutely incredible. I think I'm missing one more in the panel that's absolutely escaped me now. But oh yes, and the Timbavati private game reserve, which is part of Kruger National Park. We've got Tunda Tula, who is one of the more luxury destinations in the sort of private game reserve area of Kruger National Park. So trying to get their perspective on that luxury tourism, crossing over into wildlife, how's that done ethically, sort of glamping markets and all of that kind of stuff. So lots of different perspectives, and they're really, really super interesting. And really looking forward to it. What can I say? So the next thing we want to touch on before we move into the focus area for tonight is we've got some some courses that are due to be released soon. They're just going through their final touches now. And we touched on it last TEP Town Hall. We did some trailers for turtles and sharks, which is being launched by the Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation. We've got a little trailer on our seal module, which we're going to show you now, which is part of the Coastal Conservation Online. So yeah, check this out. So that's seal module, part of Coastal Conservation Online, and there's 3 that are going to be coming out soon. So it's one on sharks, then we've got one on turtles and one on seals, and that's the first in the little batch of modules coming out for the Two Oceans Aquarium section of Coastal Conservation Online. So really looking forward to that. Seals, you get a lot of seals in Australia, don't you, Ellie?
We do, yes. Many different species, yeah, different sizes. They're everywhere.
So I think I read actually on this course that the Cape fur seal is probably closely linked to, I think there's a similar sort of seal in Australia. I've forgotten what it's called. I don't know, you might know. I'm not sure.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but there's, yeah, because there's a similar, like cooler climate down south, and they've got the sort of thick fur.
Yeah.
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Yeah, no, I've got blank as well.
There's definitely a similarity between the species, yeah.
If anyone's watching and wants to jog our memory, please feel free to type it in. And then obviously where there's seals, there's obviously going to be sharks, aren't there? Because they are definitely, they go hand in hand. So the Two Oceans Aquarium is, it's an amazing setup in Cape Town. And it's been around now, I think it's been around probably about 30 or so years. I remember when I was in school in Cape Town, they were just starting it up, and it was really exciting. They've done such a good job. But I think what people don't realize about this is they've got such a focus on rehabilitation, release, education, and all that kind of stuff. It's not just, you're not just going to aquarium and watching animals stuck in a tiny little, you know, behind a glass sort of wall and just, you know, watching them swim around with no room. It's really not that. It's absolutely amazing, and they do such good work. So do tune into the Two Oceans Aquarium live stream next Tuesday, so we can speak to them and find out in particular about their turtle rehabilitation. Now, I'm going to mix up the pace a little bit now, so completely different. So if anyone watching has got any, you know, younger, if they've got any kids, if they've got any younger brothers or sisters or nieces or nephews, then this one is for you. So what we've also been working on is developing some more modules within our Conservation Kids section. So this has been around in a while, and up till now, we've had Molly Buckmaster from Nottingham, from Nubs over there, developed some great courses on rhinos and sort of predators and some of the large sort of mammals and some endangered species. And then we had Courtney Noseworthy, who started doing some sort of topics on recycling and climate change. And now what we're doing is those were all kind of for sort of 10, sort of 12-year-olds going into sort of early teens kind of thing. We then started doing the junior wildlife vet online stuff, which was more for the sort of the later teenagers and ones that are finishing school and looking to go into university. But now what we haven't touched on yet is the kind of the really young kids, so like the under 7s. So yeah, if you know of anyone that falls into this category, then we've got a little trailer for some of the stuff that's coming up. And the nice thing about this is in participating in these modules, which are super cheap, you can learn a bit about South Africa at the same time. So it's not just learning about wildlife and everything. You can learn some different South African languages. You can learn how funny the South African accent can be with some of the people that are doing it. So it's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, just enjoy this little trailer I'm going to show you. Check this out.
Let's go. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, wow! You have nice nostrils, Mr. Shaw.
La 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 la. I am the pelican. La 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 la.
Okay, take a deep breath in and out.
So as you can imagine, had so much fun doing that. Absolutely hilarious. Do you have any younger brothers or sisters, Ellie?
I do, yes. Well, most of them are now over 18, but I'm sure they would have enjoyed that when they were younger as well.
So we've got some modules coming out, also sort of categorized into different sort of animals and species, which are really nice. But the first module, which is a great sort of intro, is all on South Africa. So it's on things like the national animal, the national bird, the national flag, all that kind of stuff. So you can learn some bits and pieces about, all about South Africa and lead you into all the other modules. And then after that, yeah, you can pick and choose things on penguins, on turtles, on sharks, and all sorts of things as well. So great little fun things. And as you can see, each kind of one of those modules is broken up into different sections where you can sort of do different things. There's some craft stuff that you can do. There's some sort of factual things where you can learn. You get to learn some rhymes and all sorts. So really, really fun. And do recommend, yeah, if anyone knows of any sort of 3 to 7 year olds that might be interested in that, or you want to get them into conservation, this is definitely the place to start. And once again, like everything, proceeds go back into the conservation projects that we work with to develop these. So yeah, do check that out. Phew. I think anything from you, Ellie?
Oh, I want to sign up to these conservation kids. I want to learn more about South Africa. And it was in a very creative way. I love the claymation. It's so cool.
So cool. I know they've done such a good job with them, and yeah, just really looking forward to it. And I think the one thing that's really nice, and in each sort of module, there's a little section on learning some different South African words, because South Africa has got so many official languages, 11 official languages we've got in South Africa. So it can be quite a challenge when you're at school, having to learn a few different languages, and usually you do have to learn a few different languages at school as a sort of prerequisite. So, in this, we'll teach you a few sort of languages, a few sort of words you can learn as well, just to get the hang of things as well. So that if you ever do visit South Africa, you can then, you can know some local lingo, which is really handy. So we are finished with the first section now. So that's all the sort of updates for now. So if there's anything that you guys want to hear of more in the next TEP Town Hall, do let us know so that we know what to cover, what you're interested in. What we're going to do now is going to dive into quite a sort of in-depth sort of coverage of all the online courses and how they work. So so that you can learn more about that. So I suppose let's get started with that. And then if you guys have any questions, just get them posted. Okay, let's go. Right, so let's talk about online courses. So online courses become quite a big part of what the Expedition Project is all about. And the reason for this is we're trying to bring a load of projects together and give learners or just interested people passionate about some of the topics we're talking about access to some of this information as affordably as possible, but also in an interactive way and as collaborative as possible. So we have designed our courses in a different way than you might have seen sort of other courses over there. So what you can do, you can either go to the courses section there or over there, and it'll take you to pretty much the same place. So online courses section is broken down into several different categories. And what this basically does is once you go into any of these categories, you then have a list of all the modules which in those categories which are available to purchase. Now, the nice thing about these online courses is you can purchase these online modules module by module rather than buy one big expensive course for thousands of rands or hundreds of pounds or hundreds of dollars. You can actually now buy it module by module and use it as a sort of mix and match option, which is really much more affordable. It gets you to test out things, gets you to learn and try different topics. And we were finding it a much more fun way to get these online modules out there. So let's just, for example, start with Biomimicry Online. So Biomimicry Online, you can buy as one complete course. And if you scroll to the bottom there, we've got the complete course option, which gives you all the modules in Biomimicry Online available to you. So that's obviously, it'll be one big price and it'll give you all the modules that we cover. Otherwise, what you can do is you can just go module by module. Start with the first module, see what you think, try it out, and then decide if you want to progress on from there. And with Biomimicry, for example, we sure you will, because it's absolutely fascinating subject and really available for anyone. It's not academically focused. It's a fantastic subject that can really bring your awareness to nature and all that around you, and how you can use biomimicry as a way of being in your life and your world. So really recommend it. Now, you can go module by module and then try other modules from different topics, or just work through these. It's completely up to you. And we've made these as affordable as possible and really make them as accessible as possible. So once you, if you're deciding to go for a particular module, any one of these categories, then what each of these modules will actually give you, it'll give you on-demand lessons that you can watch any time of the day. And there's lots of extra resources you can do in your own time and lots of little worksheets. And if you are a member, you'll get a certificate of completion at the end of it as well. But also on top of that, so you can feel like you can interact and engage in the community a bit more, we do hold live streams on regular basis. So you can catch up and you can speak to some of our teachers and our people that are facilitating these courses and ask them some questions, as well as meet some of the other community members as well. But this isn't something that's compulsory, so you can do it as an option. So at least you can do the interactive thing as well as just do the on-demand kind of course learning thing as well. Okay, so let's go into some of the other options as well and see what else we've got. So Coastal Conservation Online is a real collaborative series of modules within this course. So this is bringing together several organizations which we're very passionate about. And examples of this is Nature's Valley Trust, it's Marine Dynamics and Dye Island Conservation Trust, it's Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation, really some fantastic modules about all things to do with coastlines and marine research and all sorts. Really absolutely fantastic. And once again, you can purchase these as individual modules, or you can purchase them as one big course if you want to try and get it all accumulated together. The Coastal Conservation Online at the moment, we're still developing our bulk online course so we can accumulate it all together. So at this stage, this one is just module by module. So look out for more on that. Okay, so let's look at what's next. Conservation Kids. So this is all for our younger learners. So anyone that's under 16. But we've got some really younger sort of stuff, the younger kids as well. So ages 3 to 7, up to preteens, and then teenagers as well. All sorts of fascinating topics and some really interactive ways to start to learn about conservation and some of the various topics and species and important things in this day and age that we'd like to share with you. So really fun and also super cheap. And this is obviously discounted even more with the kids memberships and any of the memberships actually. So really useful to get involved with this for any of our younger learners out there. Okay, so let's have a look at what's next. Next up, Ecology Online. Okay, so this is a fantastic series of modules run by Terry Lee Honeyball. And this starts to dive into, in particular, some of the large carnivore species that she's been researching over the last several years. So it's looking at hyenas, it's looking at African wild dogs, it's looking at lions, and some of the primary sort of large carnivores in South Africa. This is mainly comprised of research, sort of written data reports and articles, and those kind of resources, and then some individual videos rather than a lesson by lesson approach as some of the other courses will be run. But also really, really fascinating for anyone that's interested in ecology, large carnivores, some of the South African mammal population and stuff like that. So really fascinating. Okay, let's have a look at what next. Endangered Species Online is another example of a series of modules within this course that accumulates a couple of different organizations. So we've got Hoedspruit Endangered Species Center, and then also just taking on board some of the conservation kits and stuff in there. So it's just bringing on board a couple of areas here. We're looking to add more onto this because there's so much we can cover on the endangered species side of things. Okay, so let's have a look. Go back. Okay, Global Goals. So Global Goals Online is available free on all memberships. So if you don't have a membership, it does have a charge to it, but if you get a membership, this is available free. It's one of our freebies within the membership plans. Now, what this is introductions to some of the global goals topics, which you would have heard about over the years. And it also links in some virtual volunteering so you can get involved with some ways and some things that you can do at home to help out some of the global goals in general, but also some of the things we're working on as well. So it's a fun introduction, very easygoing series of lessons within each of these modules. And yeah, just a fun way to get involved with some of the online learning that we offer. Junior Wildlife Vet, very exciting, in development right now. And this is all about trying to get some of our younger learners. So if you're interested in getting involved in veterinary medicine, just about to start learning it, or you're at school and you're thinking about it, this is absolutely perfect. So we start off with Module 1 with animal identification. And this is all about just introducing some animals, introducing some of what makes up them, their calls, the interesting facts about them, and just sort of slowly building you up into some of the wildlife that a wildlife vet might get involved with working. And then move on to pre-vet, which starts to go into a little bit more detail, some case studies, and some details about some of the things that are involved in your first couple of years of veterinary medicine at university. So really, really excited these. And these are offshoots of our wildlife veterinary medicine, Wildlife Vet Online courses. So it really is drawing in some of the expert information and academic sort of learnings from those courses as well. So really interesting. Marine Biology Online is fantastic. So it works with a couple of organizations. It works with Marine Dynamics, Island Conservation Trust, and Nature's Valley Trust. And we're bringing on board topics like African penguins, sharks, seals, underwater research, marine pollution, whales. Absolutely fantastic. We hope for this to be available as one big course in the future, but at the moment it's just available module by module as we're releasing these modules out. It's a great introduction if you're interested in marine biology, marine research, and that kind of stuff. This one is a little bit more marine biology focused than the Coastal Conservation Online that we spoke about before. Okay, let's have a look what's next. Social Enterprise Online is it's a series of modules that's planned. It's only just started, but we're aiming to help out small businesses in South Africa and obviously around the world. If you're looking to start up a project, small tourism business, all those things that the Expedition Project is passionate about, we're starting to release some modules which are in the form of online sort of mini courses as well as ebooks, where you can learn a bit more about what it takes to run a charity, an MBO, or small business, a startup with regards to some of the conservation topics and tourism businesses that we work with. So really interesting there. So look out for more on that. Okay, and what we got next? Okay, virtual volunteering. So these are also available free to all membership plans. There is a charge if you don't have a membership, but this is primarily for those that want to get involved with doing some online virtual volunteering from wherever you are in the world. Now, what these modules do is it takes you on a virtual journey, an online journey to go and visit some of the projects that we are passionate about and we visited in person, and some of the things and the projects that they're up to within these organizations and how you can help and what you can do from where you are at home. So there's lots more coming with this. Look out for this, but also a fantastic introduction to some of the online modules and also to learn some of the projects that we work with. A great way to introduce. And remember, that's free with all memberships. Wildlife Conservation Online. Okay, so at this stage, it is one big behemoth of a course, which is bringing in a whole lot of the aspects that we've been speaking about. So one big course that's touching on all the topics that we've just spoken about there, which is really, really exciting. Now, this is a dynamic course, and what that means is that it's growing all the time. So if you buy this today, you're going to get access to a growing series of lessons and resources and opportunities within there. And you're not going to get charged anything more after you've already paid this introductory price. So at the moment, it's over 60 lessons, over 15 hours of content in there, and it's covering 9 organizations at the time. Now, this is going to grow to at least double that when we're done with it. And that's because we're going to add content all the time, and we're going to adding more and more things. This is going to be that central place for covering so much of the wildlife conservation topics that is the majority of what we talk about at the Expedition Project. So it's a great opportunity to sort of get into something really early now and have access to some amazing opportunities, and also get like tasters from all the different areas. And then you can jump off and go and dive into some of the individual modules and learn more if you want to. Okay. And finally, Wildlife Vet Online, especially for our veterinary medicine students, very, very popular course. This is run by Dr. Peter Rogers. So this is an example of a course that you can buy as one complete series, one complete course, or you can go module by module. So this goes through topics like cheetahs, goes through African rhinos, the Temminck's ground pangolin, African elephants, lions, African lions, and then more to come. We've still got wild dogs, African wild dogs, common species, and lots of live events like a live lion surgery, live elephant translocation. I mean, this is as good as it gets. This is so jam-packed with information, learning resources, videos, live footage, quizzes. This has got so much, absolutely essential for any veterinary medicine student interested in more exotic species, the wildlife species, and in particular, obviously, the South African wildlife species. This is great if you're thinking to go and visit South Africa, if you've already been to visit South Africa, or maybe you can't go and visit South Africa in any sort of immediate future, but you want to sort of get a taste of the stuff. Either way, it's a great series of resources for these topics and these species. Absolutely amazing, and got so highly reviewed. So really do recommend that. Let's have a look. And that is everything for our online courses side of things. Now, one of the things that's really important for you guys to know about our online courses is that it's not a profit-making side of things. We're a social enterprise, and this is all about giving access to these kind of opportunities, which before now have been so expensive and so daunting to pay hundreds of pounds, thousands of rands to actually get involved with. So we try to make it as accessible, as collaborative as possible, but really keep it as credible and still go into the details that we need to go into for some of those topics, and some of the other topics, just a nice introduction. A lot of these modules are actually fundraising only. So all this does is it injects 100% of the money back into some of the projects that we're talking about. And some of them, it is a collaborative side of things. So the money gets split into generating more courses. It goes into the project, it goes into designated fundraising campaigns as well. So it really is a fantastic opportunity to get involved with so much. If you go to the Learn page, you'll have a list of all those different sections that I spoke about, how it's all broken down, some of the modules that are available, some of the ones that are still to come. And then if you scroll to the bottom, you can also see some of the organizations that we're working with in developing these amazing online resources, online courses. So this is a phenomenal wealth of information on here, and really do recommend you get involved with it. You can also request a topic there. So if there's a particular topic that you'd like to find out more about, you want as an online course, send us a topic there. Similarly, if there's an organization that you want us to work with or collaborate with or develop some courses with, make a recommendation there as well. So really, really useful. What you can also do is you can take our, let's go to the courses section, and much like the membership finder quiz, there's also a course finder quiz where you can actually answer a few questions, and what this will do is it'll help narrow down your field of interest into what courses are recommended for you. So another useful way just to kind of help with all the amount of information that's on there, because there's so much to choose from. So this just helps narrow it down. I hope that helps with the course side of things. Really get stuck in, ask any questions you want, and get learning. Phew, so lots of information there to take in, lots of courses going on, lots in development, lots of lots of stuff that's coming soon, lots of stuff that is available now. I know, Ellie, you've mainly sort of really been concentrating on the Wildlife Ed Online ones, and you're one of the first sort of students to go through those, and I know how much you love those. But yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to tell any students out there about Wildlife Ed Online in particular that would be helpful to know?
Yeah, the one thing I do love about like all the modules in that course is that they are on demand, and you can do it at your own pace during classes, anytime. I know during like COVID and all the lockdowns, I definitely loved doing those when I was stuck online, with classes and everything. And it was just a nice insight into South Africa and the wildlife medicine, especially Dr. Peter Rogers, always bringing his incredible wealth of knowledge. And yeah, I highly recommend those courses.
Cool. Thank you. I mean, so that's everything from us for tonight. So quite a lot of stuff in the different parts of the TEP Town Hall. Just to summarize, just to bring you guys back up to speed again about what's coming up in October. So the 4th of October, we've got Coastal Conservation Online with the Two Oceans Aquarium Foundation. The focus for that one will be turtles. Then we've got on the 11th of October, we've got the live wildlife Conservation in South Africa 2022 preview. So we're just sort of leading up to the event, which will be on Sunday the 16th. And then on Sunday the 16th, it's an all-day event, 8:30 British time, 9:30 South African time, all-day event all the way through to 5:30, 6:30 in the evening. So do make sure you get your ticket before that event, because ticket prices go up considerably more after the event started. So make sure you do get your hugely discounted and very, very affordable, with loads of stuff included, your wildlife conservation in South Africa ticket beforehand. I forgot to mention as well, worth knowing, that with the ticket this year, you actually get a coupon which allows you to go and buy a post-event ticket for last year's event as well. So if you didn't manage to join last year's event, you're actually getting 2 conferences for the price of 1, which is amazing. So you can go watch all the replays and catch up from last year's event, which is well worthwhile. And yeah, so definitely go and check that out. And then on the 18th of October, we got the live debrief. So we do some highlights from the conservation event from the Sunday just before that. And then back around to the TEP Town Hall at the end of October again. And by that stage, we're almost at Christmas already. It's scary.
It's coming very quickly.
So thank you, everyone who did tune in. If you're watching us on replay, still feel free to post your questions and get involved as much as you can. Send through any things that you want us to cover in the future. And we just really, very thankful for your support. Ellie, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Chloe, in the background for joining us and sharing your thoughts as well. So we'll see you next time. If you are watching and you want to move over to the member chat room now, then just go to the little button on the TEP website, which is underneath where you're watching this live stream on the TEP website, and you'll see a little member chat room button. Click that, it'll take you to another page, and then you can sign into the chat room there and join us, and hopefully some other members. And we'll see you, this time next month. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much. Thank you again, Ellie, and we'll see you soon.
Nice.
Thanks all. Bye.